All right, y'all give me just a second here and we'll be good. Good morning, Don. All right, that catches us up. Let me get the hello, Therese. Let me get opened up here. What I want to open up to run today. And we'll be ready here in just a second. All right, today is going to be an interesting, very important piece of the puzzle here. I'm going to share with you a bunch of things that I have observed in auditing people's websites, and I've done a ton of that in the last couple of months. And so I'm going to share with you the observations that I've had and the things that are going on that I think that we can make a big difference for. Give everybody a chance to get in here. And then I'll greet all of you. So we have Arnie's with us today. Arnie, good to see you. Thank you for the note that you gave last week too about the webinar. I had posted that pretty quickly. This time it rendered very fast, and so it was easy for me to put the replay up and get that out. I'm putting the replay up in the group as a Zoom link, which gives you the option to be able to see the chat. And I'm also putting the video itself up on YouTube. I may have to at times make a decision about putting it up on YouTube, depending upon the nature of the information that I share in the webinar. But for the most part, I'm going to try to make it so it's YouTube friendly. Not that I ever say anything that YouTube wouldn't like, but something that if there's anything of a private nature that I don't want to mention, I will, I'll either delete it or remove it from, or just not put it on YouTube, one or the other. So there's been some things that we've done that were kind of proprietary, and I'd rather not share them with everybody. So I'll do that. Don, good to see you. Always enjoy when you can make it. Joy's here. Robert's here, and so is Therese. Small crowd today. That's okay. I don't care how big the crowd is, never have cared, although it is kind of important from a how do we make this work kind of standpoint. So we're coming up on the year anniversary. We started this about, let's see, I had planned to do this the first week in June, and then that's when I had the first episodes with the heart stents, and so there was a little bit of a delay, but it's right there in the early part of the month of June when we began this webinar, and we've been doing it now for a year. I can't imagine a year has gone by, but it has, and I think that that's been beneficial. Hopefully it's been beneficial to y'all as we go. So always interested in your feedback about that. So welcome to those of you who are here today, and we're going to jump in here and kind of bounce around a little bit today as I share with you some of the observations and experiences that I have seen from people who are struggling. And I'm going to share with you the reasons why they are. Last week, I showed you two e-com sites that are going to be non-existent because of some bad business decisions. There were some other bad decisions. I dug into that a little bit to see what was going on. And there were some other decisions that were made that were not not good by the parent company. And then the people that they were supplying are now, there's always a trickle down effect of that. Somebody else gets affected by it, and then somebody else gets affected by it. And so that becomes kind of important that we pay very careful attention to that. But I hate to see that happen. And I'm going to share with you how those kinds of things take place. Okay. So does that sound like a good agenda for you all today? Give me a response in the chat so we can kind of be warm and fuzzy today and interactive and so on. So let's talk about just a really 30,000 foot view of the things that I've seen, and then we're going to dig down a little bit deeper as we go. I have seen these common problems. Number one, there's mechanical problems with people's websites. I have a client that is generating somewhere between $1 and $3 million a year, and their website is horribly bad experience. There are several things that are just a common issue, and I'm going to talk about those common issues today and show you why they become a problem. But there's a couple of mechanical issues that I want to talk about first. And the first one is the plugins are horrible. The great thing about a WordPress site is that you can make it do almost anything you want it to do, and you can do that through the application of plugins. The problem is that frequently those plugins come into conflict with each other, get outdated. Somebody forgets to update them. Somebody forgets to take care of them. And I have actually logged into the back office of people's websites and found 27 plugins that needed to be updated, and 3 of them that were conflicting with each other, and that's causing their site to crash repeatedly. And that's a major issue. So plugins, we'll talk about plugins in just a little bit. I'm going to show you some solutions to that. The slow LCP, which is a core vital for Google. If you are slow to load that largest content paint, then there's going to be a problem, and Google's going to treat you as if you don't exist. And this is a real common issue. And I'm going to talk about the things that I see that are causing that to be bad. That low LCP is really an issue. Website content issues. Messaging is off. I see this all the time. People's first thing that the very first thing a person encounters on the website is something about the website owner. And that's not what you're there for. You found them because you were looking for a solution. You better provide that solution in that very first 8 seconds or so. Otherwise, they're gone. I don't want to hear about the history of your company. I'll hear about that later. Those kinds of things become important, but they're not the message. That's not the reason why people found you. The other thing that I find a lot is a failure to send people to the solution. Instead, they're sent to the homepage and have to find their way around. I got a text message from my doctor's office. I was going to have surgery, and I got a text message from my doctor's office, and I had a form I had to fill out. They sent me their homepage. I had to search around on a non-mobile optimized site. This has only been a couple of years ago. On a non-mobilized, mobile optimized site for the form I had to fill out. And then I'm trying to fill it. I got it by text message. So if you get something by text message, the assumption is that you should be able to do it on your phone. Is that correct? Help me with this, because this is the biggest issue that there is. It just would be logical if I could fill out that form on my phone, but I couldn't do it without increasing, decreasing, pinching, squeezing, pulling, everything else on my page to try to make it so I could fill out the form. That's not the experience that you want people to have. And I see that a lot. I was sent directly to their homepage. Then I had to find the page I had to fill out. So I walked into the doctor's office that morning for surgery, and I said, it was oral surgery. And I said, so I asked this question, do you hate your customers? Do you hate your patients? Because you've made it virtually impossible for them to do business with you. Oh, but we text them the message. We're up. No, no, you don't understand. You're missing the good experience for your patients, and that's a major problem. Next thing is that the images with no tags, and we've talked about that endlessly, but I see that all the time. One of my big clients had when we first started, they had 400 images on their site without tags, missing a huge piece of the puzzle. How many of you have used or are now currently using Bing as a search engine? I love Bing. I didn't, but I do now. But Bing will do an image search at the same time that it does, like Google does, but I find it much more user friendly. And if you don't have that all your images tagged properly, then you're losing a huge search opportunity. And I just think that this is a huge content issue. Okay. The messaging is off, the images don't have tags, you're missing that searchability. Then there's two other really bad problems I run into, and I run into these all the time. People got bad advice. I was speaking with a large client the other day, and he said, my web developer says that SEO is dead. Well, SEO is not dead. It's never been dead, and it's never going to die. It can be extremely challenging in that you're competing on a worldwide platform, but you can do local SEO. There's a lot of things that you can do. SEO is not dead. Don't take that the wrong way. And if you create websites with SEO in mind, they'll be much more successful than websites that are not created that way. When you've listened to the bad advice, SEO is dead. The other thing that I see a lot, and I'm still getting a ton of this, is that email marketing is dead. That's bad advice. It's just plain bad advice. And then to make it worse, we have a lot of bad actors. And we have two bad actors fall in two categories. They're incompetent or dishonest. Met with a man the other day, and I was auditing his site, and I kept running into an issue. I couldn't complete the audit. And so we had our first Zoom meeting, and he said, I paid a lot of money to have that site built. And it is a beautiful site. But, and this will blow your mind when you hear this, the person who built the site for him had made the site in the code of the site a no follow site. And what happens if it's a no follow? Anybody know? Here's a beautiful site that gets spent north of $10,000 for, functions very well. The problem is it doesn't exist because it's a no follow site. The whole site's no follow. That's a bad actor. That's somebody who got paid a lot of money. They created a very simple site off of, which is amazing. It looks really, really good. They created it off of a template and made it a no follow site. Are you all with me? Do you understand what that means? By having no follow built into the code, we've got a major issue. People can't find it. No, it means all of the links are invisible. It means the site itself is invisible. Follow is what Google does when it searches the sitemap. If there is a no follow, then it will not search the sitemap. Now, we have no follow things. I'm going to give you an example of that in just a little bit. I have membership sites where you have to sign in, or you have to pay to get in, or you're behind a paywall. Those can be no follow sites. And the thing is that Google will not crawl those pages, and they shouldn't, because those are sites that are specifically for a paying member. But the home part of the site should be searchable. It should be something that would be easy for people to find, easy for people to follow. Does that make sense to everyone? That was a huge issue, a no follow issue. And that's not incompetency, that's dishonest. That's just plain dishonest. That you would build somebody a site and then purposely code it so that it can't be found. So then that leads to the other part of the bad actor. He hires somebody to fix it for him, paid her in advance, and she didn't fix the one thing that should have been fixed. The one thing that should have been fixed is should have deleted that no follow code immediately, and didn't do it. Now, does anybody know how I found the no follow code? Anybody know? Yes, you can select certain pages for no follow. So let me tell you how I found the no follow code. If you are on the page, on the home page, I was on the home page. You're on the home page and you right click, and in the browser, down at the bottom of the browser, there's an inspection tab. And I searched the source code. You've got an inspection and you got a source code. I searched the source code and typed in no space follow, and immediately the no follow came up, and it's built into the HTML code for the site as a whole. Took me about 15 seconds to find the problem. But what do you think that 15 seconds is worth to the website owner? It's worth everything. It's worth everything, because here's somebody who spent a lot of money, had somebody promise to make him more visible, and she didn't fix the one thing that would be visible. And that's to remove the no follow part of the code. So we have in that one example, we have a bad actor who was dishonest, and we have a bad actor who was incompetent. And both of them, the man spent way more money than he ever should have. Make sense to everybody? I'm going to show you an example, and then I'm going to open up the site in just a minute, but I'm going to show you an example of this first one. We're going to kind of work our way down through this list here in just a little bit. I don't have all of the illustrations set up for you and all of the things on my agenda. We're just going to have to plunge our way through it. Because I was busy fixing an issue on somebody else's site this morning. So I had to take care of that. So let's take a look here. Whoops, page speed. A while ago when I was talking about page speed and slow load, this is an example of a page speed that was horrendous. This is a 52 on page load speed, and that's on the mobile. That's on the desktop. The mobile is like 12. And if those two things are bad, if the mobile is like it needs to be 90 plus, and it's 52, and the mobile's 12, it needs to be 85, and it's not. Now you'll notice down here in the corner where it says largest contentful paint, that means this screen right here takes too long to load. And if you'll notice, here's the problem with this. This banner up here looks amazing, but it's an image. It's an image, so it's taking longer to load the image, which is huge. Takes too long to load. And because this is an image, it's loading the entire image, and it has to load that every single time that you go from one page to the next. If you notice right below this, that here are two, but above, and I'm going to use the phrase above the fold because it does still apply. Here are two video boxes above the fold, and it hasn't loaded yet. Do y'all see that? And if the very first thing that people encounter is a video, then it's going to slow that load speed drastically. This image up here at the top is killing her page speed. It's killing it. Can you see why it would be killing her page speed? It's an image. That image has to be completely rendered before the next thing happens on the page. Well, that's slowing down the next thing happens, which has not just one, but two. Not just one, but two videos above the fold. I totally agree with you, Therese. It doesn't help that whole image and all of the beautiful, and it is beautiful. I'm not going to disagree with that, but it doesn't provide help. Today, the demand is that that websites have to be functional first. Then they can be attractive. There is a font on here that is not a standardized font. And that non-standard font has to be loaded because it's not something that's normally loaded in a browser. And it takes time for that font to load. Does that make sense to everyone? And yes, I agree, Therese, with the ADA requirements, this would fail. Now you notice here, over here's the accessibility on it. It's still ranked at 84. It's not too bad, but it's not where it needs to be. This is a major issue. This is a mechanical issue. It's a mechanical issue that has to be fixed. And I don't care how beautiful you think that font is. If it doesn't load fast enough, people are their attention span is just way too short. So a sexy looking page right here can end up with a bad score right here. And this is a core vital for Google, which means that if there's a problem with a core vital, they're not going to show the site. Now, the whole reason for creating a website is so that people will see it, correct? Impress them with your content, not with your flash. This was designed to be very flashy. We've got videos and we've got stuff and we've got JavaScript and we've got all kinds of stuff going on. The problem is it takes way too long to load. And on a mobile, when you have a score of 12, that's just horrendous. It's just horrendous. And that page speed's killing people. I have, like I said, I have a major client. We're going to take a look at his site here in just a minute. I'm going to show you what's wrong with it as well. That is contributing to this right here. We've got a great score on that site. I mean, we have a great score on that site for everything except for the page load speed. That's what I said. I said the same thing, Teresa. This has got to go someplace else. These two videos have got to go someplace else. Okay, change this to something that's built into the code, not something that requires that entire gigantic image to be loaded. So we're running into the menu first, then the load of this image, this huge image, and then we have two videos that are trying to load. And if you split those up so that they're in a different location, you can accomplish that task. The other issue with this, though, is this is a very video heavy site. And when you have a very heavy video site, there's another core web vital that you don't want to break. And that is the HTML code to text ratio. And if the majority of your site is in code and not in text, then it gets scored way down. Everybody understand what I mean when I say that? No, that's the image looks terrible on mobile. I totally agree with you, Trees. Tree says that design for the mobile first, and you would have never made this decision you would have never made the decision to do this if you had designed for mobile first. I totally agree with that. All right, now let's talk about what the solutions are. There's some solutions that you need to get your head wrapped around. The solution's you. People have this kind of a problem right here. You know what the solution is? The solution is you. You can help people who are struggling with those things. 85% of the e-commerce sites have almost zero traffic going to them. Did y'all get that? 85% of e-com sites have almost zero traffic going to them. Do you understand? Now, that's a problem, right? Do y'all see that as a problem? Or is it just me? That's a major problem. So I'm going to read something to you. Just hang on a second. Let me read this. Pull this up here. These are the stats that I'm running on one of my clients' sites. And these are the stats here, okay? I monitor their revenue every hour. I take a look at the traffic and where it goes. And today, there's been 927 people go to the homepage. 768 people went to checkout. No, I'm reading this to you. I can't show you my screen. This is on my phone. Monitor this one from my phone. So I want you to follow with me here. Okay. 927 people went to the homepage, but 768 went to checkout. Got that? Why did they go to the homepage? It's an e-com store. This actually, I'm using Google to monitor this one. This is my page stats from Google. I'm using them off my phone. Rob. Of those 768, 560 actually completed the purchase from the cart. That's a great number, right? What if we were putting people at the checkout or the page where they could check out instead of sending them to the homepage first? Here's another. This is the other troubling statistic. 927 people visited the homepage. 407 added a product to their cart. The homepage is killing them. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you see how the homepage is killing them? Or do I need to put the stats up here so this will make sense? Let me do this. Let's see if I can do this. Make this make sense for you. Okay. I got 927 visits with, what was my number? 407 checkouts. Those are people who completed the purchase. Let me turn this all yellow so you can see it. Now, it's an e-com store. What's the point in going to the homepage? It's another hoop for people to jump through. Okay. I'm going to show you what that page looks like. Do you see why this is taking a long time to load? Do you understand why it's taking a long time for them to load? Now, in order for them to make a purchase, they have to enter the store. We have great conversion rate. The problem is that there's another step to stop through, to go through. Everybody understand? There is a great book. If you haven't read it, if you do anything with anything, it's a book by Steve Krug called Don't Make Me Think. And the concept is that don't make people that you're asking to spend money with you, don't make them think. Don't make them find their way around. Don't make them, instead send them to the place where they want to go. It's a great book. Don't make me think. And the problem is, and I totally agree with you, Joy, the problem is that when you're really, really proud of your site, then you want to show it off. People don't care they want a solution. That's what they're looking for. They want a solution. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So we have to find solutions, and they're not going to find them on their own. Make sense? I've got sites where the owner makes under $150,000 a year to making $3 million a year, and they all have the same problem. They need help. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? And that's why you're the solution. And that's why we've tried to give you the tools that you need in order to help them find the solutions that they're looking for. Okay. So let's do this. Let me give you a quick rundown here. This, y'all are familiar with this. This is my website audit course. Okay. Refresh this so the menu looks correct. This is my website audit course. All right. Now, if I'm going to promote this, I'm not going to send people to the home page. All right. What's the first thing that's on the website? What's the very first thing that you see? What's the first phrase that you see? Help me with this one, because this is the home page for one of my sites. Anybody have this problem? My website's not converting as I expected. My website's not converting as I expected. You look at it on a mobile device, and it's the first thing you see is my website's not converting as I expected. This is such a common problem. People who've spent $10, $15, $20,000 to build a beautiful website, and the problem is it doesn't convert. It needs to convert visitors into buyers. Do y'all agree with that? It needs to convert visitors into buyers. Instead of talking about who Market My Town is, what do we talk about? What's the problem? People aren't getting the conversions they expected. They spent money for a website and it doesn't convert the way they expect it to. Maximize your reach. Who's that for? Help me with this. Who's that for? It's for my customer, not for their customers, but for my customer. I'm speaking directly to them. I want them to maximize their reach. How's the rest of the text read? This is all above the fold. How's the rest of the text read? Maximize your reach, dominate local and global markets. Okay, so you say, well, I just have a local shop. Fine, we can dominate that local market. What about the global market? We can dominate a global market. So are we covering both bases here at some risk? What's the first thing that you see? Do you see anything? Really, honestly, do you see anything about Market by Town on that page? You can improve your search rankings, drive more traffic, increase conversion rates, and improve brand awareness by implementing effective SEO practices such as keyword research and optimization, quality content creation, building backlinks from reputable sites. I usually use bullet points, but I decided not to in this case. Instead, I use the one thing that I don't normally use, and that's commas, and maintain a user-friendly website design. Then you'll attract more potential customers to your site and improve your online presence. Who's that about? Yeah, I have my browser is blown up pretty big. That button should be just above the fold. But who's this about? If a person finds this site, they're obviously going to say, oh, this is for the person that if I'm struggling getting my business found, and this is a great place to go, right? I've addressed that person. That's my first focus. Okay. I try to do the same thing here. Who's the focus of the pages? It's not Market by Town at all, right? Now, I created this course. Some of you have taken it, some of you have purchased the course. I don't know if you've walked through it or not, but I've created this course. And this is it right here. And the whole purpose of this is to walk people through the things that are necessary in order to make the website convert better. Issues might be poor website design. We talked about that. A website which isn't optimized for mobile devices. That's a huge problem. Too much or too little content. The thought was if I put lots of YouTube content on then YouTube's going to give me lots of attention. That's not necessarily true, especially if you tip the HTML to text ratio the other way, then you have a major problem. Lack of engaging visuals or copy on the website, making it hard for customers to relate to your business and connect with your product. Low visibility because it hasn't been SEO optimized. The whole purpose of this is to take people through this whole process here. Okay. So this is how you get, if you haven't done this is how you get this. Okay. If you haven't taken this course, if you have, that's cool. And if you have, then you'll discover there's all kinds of people who fall in this category that one of these things is wrong or all of these things are wrong and they're not converting the way that they should. Okay. Now you tell me, what can we do to help people? And I'll wait for you to respond. Because there are things that we can do to help people. This guy spends north of $10,000 to have this website made. And I'm not going to show you the website because it's still in the process. Joy, I totally agree with you. She says the cumulative effect of just a few of these things is huge, and it is. It is. Do you all see my browser window right here? Do you see, where is it? Right here. Do you see that right there? Do you know what that is? Y'all know what that is? I know you do, Trees. That's the reason why I keep referring back to the things that you say, because it's pretty cool. What is this right here? Can you see that little icon in the bar up there? Anybody know what that is? Oh, come on. Somebody's got to know that. It's the metapixel helper is what it's called. It used to be called Facebook Pixel Helper. It's the same thing. This is a great way to track the activities going on your website. So when you log into somebody's site, let's just randomly pick one here. And you pick a site, I don't care what the site says, but you notice up here, there's no pixel on the site. How do you track the activity? Anybody know how you're supposed to track the activity when you've got this? Pixels are your way of tracking the activity that takes place on your site. Does that make sense? I can't retarget that person. I can't take an ad and retarget that person because I don't have any Facebook pixel up. That by itself is a huge benefit to the business owner. Y'all understand what I mean by retargeting using a Facebook pixel? This is a simple little extension that you need to have on your website or in your browser. Because if you're not tracking what people are doing, I mean, I read to you a while ago a bunch of stats from that page. If you're not tracking that kind of stuff, then you're getting traffic, but you don't know what it is. And you don't know what they're doing. You can't measure anything. I see this all the time. I'm gonna just go make a space here where I can take a note. Okay. I see people say this all the time. Somebody said this to me just this week in a group that I monitor, and it made my blood boil. This is the reason why people fail. Why is that the reason why people fail? When I hear these words, I cringe. Anybody know why? Because if I try it, how do I know if I did something wrong along the way? This came about from a conversation with somebody. Well, I tried the instructions and they don't work. The instructions do work. That's why they're called instructions. But if all you're doing is trying them, you have no idea. You're assuming that you're making the assumption that there's something magical if you try the instructions. No. Let's change that. What's the difference between the two? Anybody know? The let me test that automatically comes in. There's automatically a set of criteria there. If I'm trying something, I don't have any idea whether it worked or not. It's like throwing a dart at the wall. But if I'm testing something, then I'm testing where my feet are placed. I'm testing the position of my arm. I'm making sure that I'm facing the dartboard correctly. Do you understand that? There's a this test comes with a whole built-in set of criteria to it. And that built-in set of criteria is what makes all the difference in the world. Y'all have heard me say this numerous times. People, processes, and products. When you have these three things, people, processes, and products, these are the things that can go wrong, right? There can be a problem with the people, there can be a problem with the product, there can be a problem with the process. Let me give you some numbers here. All right. In my personal experience, having read probably 55,000 support tickets, I'm not exaggerating. The product fails about 5% of the time. Fails about 5% of the time. So if I am testing something, then I can be pretty confident that if other people are doing the same thing, if I'm testing something, I can be pretty confident there's about a 5% chance that there's something wrong with the product. Does that make sense? There's about a 35% chance that there's something wrong with the process. You have to click here before you click there. And you did it backwards. That's a process issue, right? Everybody understand that? And this is the one that nobody wants to believe. That leaves us with at least 60% of the time, it's the person. So knowing this, people, processes, and products, knowing this, I approach everything that I test, realizing that there's a 60% likelihood that I'm going to be the problem. Got that? But if all I do is try it, I'll never know. Does that make sense to everybody? I won't know if it was a people. I don't know if the problem was me. I don't know if the problem was the process. But there's a really strong likelihood that it was not the product. Last night, because Rose is on the other side of the other time zone, she made something for me that you'll see next week. And I said, I can't see it. And she said, let me see if I can fix that for you so you can see it. And she did, and I still couldn't see it. Well, it was fair for me to assume that the problem was me, right? And there's a really good likelihood that the problem was me. Because who's not seeing it? Y'all got to interact with me here. Who's not seeing? I'm the one's not seeing it. So there's a good likelihood that I'm the one that's making the mistake, right? I'm clicking in the wrong place. I'm looking in the wrong folder. Something's in air here. The second possibility is that Rose did something wrong. But the fact is, there was something in the process that neither one of us understood. And as soon as we figured that out, boom, we were done. But if we just tried, we would have given up. I totally agree with you, Joy. When I say try, I'm almost saying I have a reason for it failing. I tried it and it didn't work. But if I test it, I'm taking ownership of it. I'm taking responsibility for it. And I'm gonna find out whether the problem's me or the process that I'm using, because I'm pretty confident it's not going to be the product. So when we look at this right here, we need to have some built-in ways to test things, not just try them. And if we'll do that, we become the solution. Make sense? Any questions, comments, complaints? Joy, you made it that too easy. But if you remember that, I'm testing it. I know that one of three, if it's not working, one of three things is wrong. It's either the people, the process. I tell them that that's how we start. I start with every client saying that whatever it is that we're going to tackle, that we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at the people, we're going to look at the process, and we're going to look at the products. And I can assure you that 5 out of every 100 problems you run into, the problem is the product. But the rest of the time, it's right here. And who carries out the processes? People do. So you could really, literally put these two things together. I think it does. I think if the client's not willing to understand and assume some ownership in this situation, then there's not a whole lot that you can do with them. I have a client right now that we totally rebuilt his website because he had this going on. And I could see it. I knew it was there, but he had to know it was there. And that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. And in that case, it was the people that he was doing business with. Also lived in the same neighborhood as, shopped at the same store, went to the same people's funerals. That's a problem. That makes sense? So my question is, how can I help you solve these kinds of problems for the people that you run into? Because everybody's got them. Everybody does. I mean, I look at this situation over here. Teresa and I could have built this website and not had any problem with it whatsoever. But now we got this thing turned upside down. Trying to get it right side up is getting to be a major challenge. And if you haven't taken this course, you need to take this course because it'll really help you. It will really help you. work through these issues right here. All right. Any other questions, comments, anything at all? You're exactly right, Joy. I'm going to answer Ryan's question, then we're going to finish, but I'm going to talk about Joy's comment here first. The sunk cost is really hard for people to overcome. And it is. You know, I talk to people who've made a bad decision and they stick with it because they spent money on it. And that's never good. I mean, it's never good. Educations ought to be costly. I realize that. And they are. But sometimes we have all the education we can afford and we need to just kiss it goodbye and move on to the next step. Because the more quickly you end the mistakes, the better off you are. Now, let me address Ryan's question. I think this is really good. If you had to completely start over with nothing tomorrow, what would you do to earn money as fast as you possibly could? That's really good question. The very first thing that you could do, if you were in my shoes, the very first thing you could do is I would install this Facebook pixel right here. Wherever it went, right there. I'd install this Facebook pixel right here. And I would go to every local business and check their website and see if they've got the Facebook pixel installed. Hey, I'll do that for you for $100. I'll get that set up. We'll track that, make it work. And when they realize what's here, I'll give you a good example. Remember the plumbing company that we talked about, Legends Plumbing? Let me see if I can pull that up here. We'll do this. Let's see. Legends Plumbing and Heating right here. From the Yellow Pages ad. Okay, this guy is promoting his business in the Yellow Page. Full page ad, full page on the back. Doesn't track anything. Zero tracking going on. Zero. This guy's got great reviews on his website. Has great reviews on his website. And he's got great reviews in Google. He's got great reviews on Facebook. They all need to come together. Okay. No idea. No idea here. Absolutely. Pick up the quick and fastest money that you can. This is a simple little tool right here. Immediate. You can immediately, one of these days I'm going to reach out to this guy and we're going to track it in one of these webinars. But do you see how that could happen? At this right here. Now, the other thing that you can do, there's other tools, and I can help you with these other tools, but there's other tools. Here's one right here. Let me find it here. Oh, there we go. Go back over here. And we go over here to the Legends Plumbing. And we do this. And now I know some things about his site. Okay. We're not tracking anything. You see this? There's got to be a reason for that. I want to find out what it is. Yeah, you have to have a cookie statement. Don't even try to do something like a cookie statement today. But I learned something here. Okay. What kind of traffic is he getting? We don't know. Why don't we know? Because there's no way to track it. Here's a guy who's spending the kind of money that he's spending. Don't have any way to track it. Here, let me do that for you. I'll track this for you for $250 a month. And we'll give you a report every week of where things are going on at. Those are simple things you can do, right? Oh, I need that. I need a plug-in for that. I don't have it. Find these little things that you can do right here. There's a bunch of them. And I've got them in this course, by the way. If you go over and look at the course, if y'all aren't taking advantage of this, it's your fault, not mine. It was like the soap at the hotel. It was there for you. The Brow SEO. Check my links. Check somebody for broken links on their website. The Facebook helper extension. The Google Tag Assistant. Those are all there. You can use Screaming Frog to find out if their images have been alt tagged. Quick, easy pickups, right? Most of these extensions are free. You just need to figure out what to do with them. I'll try to give you an idea right here. Any other questions? We've gone too long. Anything else? But that's a great question, Ryan. It's a great question. Because it can lead into something really huge. All right. If not, we'll be back here next Friday, same time, same place, doing the same thing. All right, y'all take care. I'll talk to you next Friday.